All right, this is going to be a look at the Bills' offense, specifically the first possession against the Rams and how they were able to get a lot of things accomplished in the pass game, the short pass game. I know they had turnovers. NFL.com as yet doesn't have access to a couple of the interceptions, or at least one from that game, which is interesting to me. Really, what's surprising to me was the chunk plays in the run game. I mean, the chunk plays in the run game, to me, really kind of kept the Rams defense at bay. To be honest with you, some of these plays I'm watching for the first time. I did not watch the game live. Had other things to do for my channel. But this is the first possession, every single play, to be honest with you. Obviously, Josh Allen, had a huge impact in the pass game. Some of the design run plays, the scrambles like you just saw on that second play. This is one of my favorite plays that anyone in football is running, period. I do not remember the Bills running this play last year. It's a toss stretch concept, essentially. So he's trying to get to the edge and maybe cut it up. But what I love the most about this play, and the Rams actually run this play, is how the offense deals with this edge defender. I'm going to try to slow this down a little bit, and hopefully it's not too choppy. If it is, then I'll just let it play full speed. It's going to be choppy, so it's going to be a mess. So what they're going to do is they're going to block him with the tight end initially. So he's being engaged. And this is the worst thing to deal with as a defender, is you've been engaged by someone, so you're trying to execute your technique, whatever it may be, depending on your gap, your assignment, if you got a stunt, which this outside linebacker does not in this case, and then you get a second player come and make contact with you. That's just going to blow you up. That's going to expand this gap, and the running back knows it. The running back understands the scheme, so he understands that all he's got to do is get to this seam, and it's over in terms of it being a 6, 7, 8-yard gain in most cases. I'll show you another example of that play. I only am going to use all 22 film here, to be honest with you. This is going straight through their first drive, culminating with the touchdown, I believe, on the little delay to Gabe Davis. I thought Singletary played well, did a lot of good things in the run game especially. Their offense looks dangerous. This drive looked very familiar to the one drive I think the Bills had, the first drive they had in the preseason game, week 3. I forget who they played. I had it. I was going to try to do a video about it, but unable to generate time to do so because of how much Ravens and Jets content and film I'm watching currently. But they just went right down the field on that drive. Went right down the field. This is like a tackle pull, if you ask me. There's going to be a tackle pull later on a play that we call Dart, or that I was introduced to with Dart. So here's a little bit of a delay with this running back counter-stepping somewhat. And all that's doing is giving that tackle time to clear. I would call that Dart or tackle trap. Empty is extremely dangerous against Josh Allen or any mobile quarterback for that matter. Kind of limits your options, and you see what they have done. I mean, they have gotten Diggs here in space against, I think this guy drops out of there, this edge player, the same edge player that basically got comboed. It's very difficult. Look at all the space that's created between, from the top of the numbers to the other hash. You have no one in those low hole or hook areas at all to help that guy out because of the empty formation, because they're spreading the defense horizontally. Just by alignment, they're spreading the defense horizontally. Great concept. This Bills offense is on a roll. As a Ravens fan, knowing that this team's going to come to town, I think in 4 weeks, is a difficult. It's going to be a difficult game, no matter where you play them, based upon the talent they've got. Another toss play, and they're pulling 2 linemen. Not as effective, but to me, it's good to have these things in the offense. It's good to get these things installed in the defense's brain, because then you can use them for complementary plays later. Obviously everybody sees the ball tossed out there, the little brown leather ball, so the boot really doesn't have any impact because everyone saw the ball tossed. As Ravens fans know, if you've watched any of my previews with the Jets use double pass a lot, or throwback pass, if you will. And that's certainly something that's there. I thought Knox, I don't think he got a lot of targets, but I thought he had some opportunities to catch some balls, even though I don't think he had a lot of catches. To be honest with you, I'm not too familiar with the stats. Like I said, didn't watch the games. Snag concept here that looks like 13. Davis starts to take across the field. And then again, Allen is able to find time and get it out to the running back. I think the running backs for the Bills are extremely underrated. This is such a unique play. This part of the video is probably going to get, maybe not copyright hit, but I'm sure that the NFL is going to have Baldy or somebody do a breakdown of this one, and that's cool. But I think that You've got multiple things happening here, all right? Yes, he's lined up over a receiver. Yes, you could say, oh, it looks like man because he's moving with him. To me, this looks like a zone alignment at this point, but I think there's a couple things happening that I'm not sure if they've been mentioned. You have a tackle over situation. I'm sure the defense communicated this. So Knox is the tight end backside. He's eligible. He's on the line. Davis, you can see, is off the line. He's back off the line. That's how come he's able to go in motion. Right? I've only seen motion for somebody on the line of scrimmage one time in my life, and it wasn't called. It was a high school unprepared referees. But in any case, you've got 1, 2, 3 linemen over here, and then what looks like a second tight end. So it's tackle over. You've got the left tackle and the right tackle packaged next to each other over here on the left-hand side. To me, that was probably communicated to the defense, and they recognized it, and I think that's part of the reason why Ramsey gets so caught up with his eyes in the backfield. Yes, his eyes need to be more disciplined. Yes, that's his, simultaneous to that, one of us has got to be able to cover this. There's 2 eligible receivers here. And Davis slips out the back door. Huge, huge tactical mistake by them. Something they weren't prepared for. Something that they either didn't prepare for or something they just didn't do a good job of. Later on in the game, I think I've advanced like 3 possessions. What surprised me the most is the run game and how it opened up. Little jokers. Not sure if I give you the end zone angle on this one. Let me see if I do. Yeah, so jokers is one running back, in this case the halfback, to the left of the quarterback, and another running back, in this case what looks like to me to be a fullback, to the right, and now you have a tight end over here who obviously looks like he's either going to go in motion or, some kind of split zone concept running across the back of the formation. Works out like F counter. F counter would normally have the guard pulling and the tight end, kicking out, or you could do it the other way. You could have the guard pull and kick, and this is the typical way that I've seen it. So that in this case, the fullback would not be here. You would get the kick out block by the right guard to the left, and you would get the wrap by the tight end or the Y. So that guy would be unblocked off the snap. Same concept here. He's unblocked, but the kick out block is happening by the Y, by the tight end, and then the fullback is going opposite, opposite the initial flow of 26. So Singletary's initial flow is from left to right, and then he's bringing this back behind the fullback. So to me, this is really just F counter. Some people will call it power, whatever, same concept. 12-yard gain. Same drive. Trip set to the right. QB dart. Now, some people mistakenly call this bash. That's not what it is. It's not QB counter. Really, this is just tackle trap out of the wing tee is all it is, where you have one back crossing face and the other back keep, stepping opposite. That conceptually, this is a concept or a play that's been in offenses since, the wing tees evolution decades ago. But you got the tackle pulling and Josh Allen keeping it. Sometimes you read it, sometimes you don't. If he's going to read it, you could read the front side D end. But Josh Allen could also read this D end over here for reaction. He could read either one. As it stands, this D end certainly would be in position to get upfield and tackle this running back. So that's where some people, refer to this as bash or QB counter. It's really just tackle trap. Is all it is. The original name that I've heard, I'm talking about years ago, like in the 90s, early mid-90s, was QB dart. So the terminology might be different, but in any case, conceptually, he's reading something, and they've got a tackle pulling who can lead out to the edge. I think the final play here, again, another run concept. Bills' offense was, clearly very impressive. Rams looked like an incomplete defense. That sounds inflammatory. They just looked like there were some things they weren't prepared for. I know I was shocked when I got the film this evening and I saw them being the Bills running this play, because this is a Rams play. This is a 49ers play is who this is. You're blocking the edge player up here with Knox, and then watch 41 come in here and expand him. Get him out of there, creating a huge lane, and they're still on that edge player out here to the sideline. Watch where the edge player lined up initially. He lined up inside of the top of the numbers by what looks like 3 yards to me. He ends up on the sideline. Yeah, people are going to talk about Knox, kicking his butt, winning that rep, but the fullback motioning and hitting him after hitting the edge player after he's been engaged is a huge part of that. It helps Knox deal with him in a way that we really can't comprehend. All right, so then the interior offensive line is the other piece. The Rams have survived on this one inside linebacker system, and I am not sure that Bobby Wagner is put in the best position to do that for real. Most nickel teams are going to be, I'll draw it up like in a 5 technique DN, maybe a shade 1, which is what you have here, a 3, and then, maybe you got a 9 over here. And you'd have, one Mike backer, let's call Wagner to Mike, and a Will in here. So a 4-2 in the box. This is a 5-1. Some people call it a 3-3. You can call it whatever you wish, but you clearly have 1, and then 2, 3, the nose tackle, who's a shade. 4, which I think is Aaron Donald, who's in a 4-eye or just a 4. And then another edge player. So that's your 5. Then the Mike, which is Wagner, is the 1. I know you've got another player in the box here, Ramsey, another player. I'm talking about linebacker personnel. I'm not sure that Wagner is going to be the guy who plays this the way that people want him to. And there's really nothing, the way it's drawn up scheme-wise by their coaches, there's really not a whole lot that he can do for real when you're able to get a center that reaches the shade or the nose, and then they combo here. Watch what 76 does. 76 comes off that guy, seals off Wagner. You've got a reach by the center. You've got a great combo block by 76 up to, I'll call him the Mike and Wagner, and then 73 staying on 94, who's got a heck of a reputation and is a great football player. But in this case, he's 7 yards downfield before he makes contact, number 1, and then B doesn't finish the play. Center, who's obscured, obviously, is in front of Josh Allen. He's going to reach this shade. Then you get this combo here, and 76 is the guy who combos up to Wagner as Wagner's trying to flow. I'm not sure that Wagner is best suited for this particular look. I'm not saying that he does anything wrong here. I think he's a classic traditional guy who will play extremely well with a traditional 4-2 look in there as a nickel, a second inside linebacker there to help him fit things. To me, that 5-1 that the Rams get away with did not look as effective against the run. Here's a look at the 4-2 back at the first play that I showed you. You've got 2 inside backers, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Your more traditional look versus 11 personnel, which the Bills ran a lot of. This is a real quick look at some of the Bills plays that they ran last night. Really cool that NFL.com has or NFL Plus, has the plays up and available already. I'm not sure if you are a part of NFL Plus, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty cool asset for those of us that are trying to create content. Bills come away with a Week 1 win that certainly is going to get their hype train rolling even more, and deservedly so. Deservedly so at this point. They go into Los Angeles and beat the defending Super Bowl champs quite badly. We know that Matt Stafford looked a little compromised in some ways. I'll have a film out tomorrow afternoon about some of the throws that Matt Stafford was unable to make, particularly the ones that weren't targeting Cooper Kupp. Let's be honest with you. Anyway, if you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you really enjoy this video, please consider sharing it on social media to help the video get more reach. Appreciate you guys checking the video out.